All right, One South Africa movement is hosting its final rally down in the Western Cape. This says millions of South Africans are possibly still deciding who to vote for tomorrow. Now, the organization's leader, Musi Maimane, expected to deliver a keynote address. Lindsay Dentlinger covering that for us as well. Hello to you, Lindsay. A last push by Musi Maimane saying that he's going to be the one to make the change. The question is, how does he deliver that message? And are you getting the sense that people are buying what he's selling?
Gareth, good afternoon. Yes, one last push for Musi Maimane and his One South Africa movement here in Delft. It comprises several wards, most of those controlled by the DA, although there is a ward or two sandwiched in between. But Musi Maimane telling the crowd here today that he wants to depoliticize local government, for people in their communities to stand up and drive those issues. Musi, thank you for your time and for joining us and waiting with us. You are saying that this is really going to be the beginning. Next year we're going to see independence move into other spheres of government. Why do you believe that this is the start of something new and a shift in South African politics?
Absolutely. It's, as the IEC shows, is the fact that there's been a massive increase in the number of independent candidates. That demonstrates that people are sick and tired of politics. They want power back. Secondly, I think part of the difficulty of South Africa is that we have had politics forget about people. That's why services are not being delivered. That's why money is being looted. That's why the lights are not on. And we're saying let's put communities at the center of that. And that's why when we elect independence, we make sure power goes back to the community. We make sure there's representation in council. And it's part of a grassroots movement that's happening all across the country with independent candidates to coalesce together to bring about the change, not only next year in the law, but in 2024 nationally.
Musi, do you think your message finds resonance with people? Do you think people are so used to political parties representing them in local councils? Do you think the work that you've done over the past few months, that we will see a shift in the way that communities think about the people who represent them?
Yeah, I think the shift has in some ways already started to happen with an increase in the number of independents. But secondly, it's that the message is coming through where people are saying either we find someone from our community or we don't vote at all. And I'm inviting people to say, go vote for an independent in your community. And then the last thing I think which is important is I think as people are so sick of the political parties as they see, our message has been simple. When you go to a community, services are being delivered by party affiliation. And what we are saying is that that must end. And that message is resonating with the people, because if you go to communities, you find someone who says, if I want a job, I better either do something wrong with the councillor or know the political party. Whereas if we depoliticize it, get the best people in council, we can deliver change. So I'm confident that come tomorrow, it will be the start, it will bring change, and ultimately, as I say, when more citizens stand together, the majority of people in this country did not vote in the last election. Now we've got to invite them to vote, not only tomorrow, but in 2024.
Just lastly, Musi, about 250 wards you're contesting independence linked to your movement. How will you be judging success at the polls tomorrow?
Well, I think the most important thing is to make sure that each of those who are represented, we are targeting key municipalities, and we think we've got some really great candidates who, through associations, can do well. So I'll be looking at what happens in Gijima, I'll be looking at what happens in Mfuleni, I'll be looking at what happens here in Cape Town. And for us, the more people come in, you will recall that it's important that we shake up. To me, in this instance, when people argue, is it big versus small, I say that's a rubbish argument. What matters most is who represents who. And if we can get more independents to represent the people, then we've already won.
Thank you very much. Musi Maimane from the One South Africa movement. Gareth, saying to people they have an alternative tomorrow, not to vote for a political party, but to vote for an independent candidate, somebody who comes from their communities to bring about the change and to deliver better services to those that they represent and to whom they are accountable. Gareth.
Yeah, Lindsay Dentlinger, I think a point has been made that I think this election round, it could be the independents that are what we like to call the kingmakers, could very well prove true as we head to the polls tomorrow. Thank you very much to Lindsay Dentlinger. Back again a little bit later as we have just spoken to One SA movement leader Musi Maimane.